I'm curious about how do you approach a mentor? How did you approach David Meltzer? How did you approach these mentors that you had?
And then in 2018, you were mentioning the arthritis. And so 2018 was great. I met Gary Vee in the beginning of 2018. If anybody knows Gary Vaynerchuk, he's amazing. If you don't, go find him on social media. And it was really my first introduction into entrepreneurial realm. Like, I was like, there's people that talk like this. They're motivational, they're inspirational. And I was just like so taken aback because I had never heard people really talk like Gary Vee and Tony Robbins and, Lewis Howes and David Meltzer and all of these different people, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So later in 2018, I found out the arthritis had moved into my spine. I had been having a lot of spine pain, and I honestly kind of panicked and went to my rheumatologist and said to her, okay, I want to try something, medication again, because the nature of the disease is to deteriorate. So it starts breaking away parts of your joints, your organs. It attacks them. And I already have something also called degenerative disc disease, which means the same thing, different reason, that my spine is basically falling apart. And my youngest two at the time were 2 and 5. And I was like, I want to be able to walk and run and do things with them. So if medication is my only option right now to at least slow this down while I figure something else out, let's do this. And I ended up on something called Humira, and it's a biologic injectable, so I had to give myself a shot every 2 weeks. And for anybody who's terrified of needles, that's me right here. But I felt like it was my only chance to slow this down, because what it does is it basically shuts off your immune system so it stops attacking you. And it went horribly wrong, for lack of better words. I was expecting it to be like my saving grace. I had a lot of hope for it working, and I took a nosedive health-wise. I stuck it out for 6 or 7 months, and then in 2019, I met Evan Carmichael, which is also pivotal because he was another person in that realm that I got to meet and boosted me up, and I still actually am very involved with a lot of the things that Evan does. But I decided after meeting him and making all of these plans, and the Humira is not working, and I'm trying to stick it out, because I felt like if I just gave it one more month, like it would start to work and I would start to feel better. And that wasn't happening. So I think it was like March or April 2018 or 2019 when I finally told my doctor, was like, I can't do this anymore. It's not working. She was trying to get me to stick it out longer, and I was like, no, I'm done. I said, this stuff is wrecking my life. I'm miserable. I feel like I have the flu all the time. I have zero energy. Like, I was worse off on the medication than I was on. I'm not sure if it did any good with my spine or not, but otherwise it wasn't worth it. Like, trade-off wasn't worth it at that point. So yeah, that's what happened with that. 2019 is also when I met David Meltzer, who is my mentor and now my friend, and had such a tremendous impact on my healing and my life. It's just been incredible. It's been almost 2 years since I met him now, and the change in myself and the way I view my health and the way I view the world, the way I view lots of things is so much different. And I can't thank him enough, to be honest with you. He's been a tremendous help and support and guide and just everything. But yeah, that all happened before COVID and Etsy and everything for me. I was still working on Posh Notions at the time. I remember meeting David for the first time. He agreed to mentor me for a month, and my first phone call with him, I was like, I'm working on this on my Unbreakable campaign, and I was like, I'm trying to write a book, and I'm trying to build a business, and within like 5 minutes, he was like, you're not going to do any of this stuff until you get your health in order. Like, I've never met this man in person, right? I'm just talking to him on the phone, and I was like, wow, like if you could gather all of that 3,000 miles away and you're willing to talk to me, like I better listen to what you have to say. And that was the third part of my healing journey, was meeting David. And I guess third pivotal part in my healing journey was meeting David and going from like, I have to figure out a way, knowing that there got to be a different way, to finally finding somebody that was going to help me find the way. I don't think I even realized the impact he was going to have at that point, because when he gave me that advice, it wasn't what I was looking for. Obviously, like I was looking for business advice, right? I wasn't looking for that. But it was like the universe delivered, and I was like, hey, I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to hear this now. And over the next several months, he helped me focus on things that either I hadn't thought of before or did not put enough focus into. So like sleep, for example, was one of them. He helped me with not only just the notion of getting better sleep and how restorative sleep is supposed to be, and I think we all know this intellectually, but we don't think about what really goes into a good night's sleep, right?
I can totally relate with that.
Yeah, and like we all know 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but there's so many things that go into actually having restorative sleep, not just hitting the pillow and waking up in the morning. So that was one of the biggest things that he helped me with, like right up front. And it just snowballed into all of these different tips and tricks and mindset shifts, and I would ask him these questions, and the way he would explain things, it was like, wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. The first 6 to 8 months, it was very, very eye-opening to me, because it supported my idea that I was the one in charge and in control of myself, and that I had no control over what anybody else was doing. But on top of that, gave me the practical tips to deal with things that I was struggling with, right? So yeah, that sums up 2019.
I'm curious about, how do you approach a mentor? How did you approach David Meltzer? How did you approach these mentors that you had?
So I've just recently learned this, maybe in the past 6 months or so, that the decisions that I make super quickly are my instinct or my intuition talking to me, and the ones that we kind of let be long and drawn out.
It's like analysis paralysis.
It's like when you ask yourself those questions, the first answer that comes to you is probably the right answer, but a lot of times we ignore it because we don't want to listen to that, or we don't want to do whatever that thing is. So for me, meeting Gary Vee is a perfect example of that. I decided on a Thursday, kind of half joking around on Twitter, to drive to New Jersey, which from here is it's like an 8-hour drive, because he was doing a book signing. I had no idea how I was going to do this. I didn't know how I was going to get the money to do it. And we left Friday morning, and it was amazing. I faced so many of my fears that weekend and did so many things that were so out of my comfort zone. Now, Gary isn't a personal mentor of mine. Like, I don't know him or anything. I follow a lot of his content. I've spoken to him via social media a few times since then. But Gary Vee was very much still in the hustle mentality when I first met him, and I realized very quickly that the hustle culture did not work for me and for my body, and that I was not able to do that, and I had to figure out how to do things my own way. But he has since shifted, which I love about him, that he has just shifted more into mindset and doing what's right for you, etc., etc. Evan was another one that was very spur of the moment. So I was supposed to do my Humira shot. I did them on Friday nights. I think it was another Thursday. I found out he was going to be here in Pittsburgh on a Saturday. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going. I have to do my shot, and I can't do that. And then I decided I was going to delay my shot a day so I could go meet him. Bought the ticket with I just delayed it a night and took it when I came home after seeing him. But it was very spur of the moment decision. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my ticket. My husband's like, why are you going to pay $50 to go hear somebody speak? And now I think he understands a lot more now. But I was like, you don't understand who this guy is. So I ended up going ahead and I went down and met him, and it was just amazing. Like I said, it spurred all of these different things in me. I had so much confidence after meeting him, and so many ideas. The creativity was just kind of flying out of me. But what I did with Evan was different. After meeting Evan, I started engaging a lot with him on social media. He was doing a lot of lives on YouTube. I got really engaged in his culture and a lot of the other people that were following him. I started providing value to his other followers. So if he was in a live and people were asking questions, I would try to help the best that I could. And I really immersed myself kind of in his culture and in his ecosystem. What I did when I went down to see him here in Pittsburgh, I made shirts for him and his wife and a couple of other people. Basically this circle of success kind of thing, and he had all these different things on there. So I made a few of those and I took them with me and gave them to him. And he's very humble, and he was very grateful that I made gifts for him. And what ended up happening is he ended up coming to Cleveland, which is only a couple hour drive from here, and I ended up making shirts for the whole team and driving out to Cleveland. So he had broken his neck on tour and he couldn't put his hoodies on anymore. So I bought a zip-up hoodie and made him a zip-up hoodie with his logo on it, because he couldn't get anything here in the States because they're from Canada and they were on tour. So I kept in contact with these people and providing value and trying to do things and be helpful. With David, it was a little bit different. I learned about David from Evan's book, Your One Word, and then I read David's book, and then I found David on Instagram. And I tried to go live with David one time on Instagram, and for some reason my phone wouldn't connect. So I reached out to him in the DM. Yeah, I reached out in the DM, and he is such a humble, giving, genuine, he will talk to anybody. He's just so giving of everything that he has. Like, he believes so much in abundance and the power of receiving. And we went back and forth in conversation a little bit, and he ended up telling me about, he had this thing where he would mentor anybody for 1 month for free, and then if you decided to mentor with him afterwards, or you didn't, whatever. So I was like, I'll take it. It took a few weeks to get everything set up, but I ended up building a relationship with him. And that's really what most mentors, at least in my experience, like, these people want to help people. They're out on social media and they're being public with their knowledge. They want to help you. That's, a lot of them just want to serve. That was a really long answer, all to say, like, ask. Like, I know that sounds short and sweet and simple, but you also want to make sure you're trying to provide value to them. Because a lot of people, you go in and you say, I need this from you, or I want this from you, or you do this for me, and they have no idea who you are. Most people aren't going to say yes right after the bat. But if you're showing up in their lives, and you're showing up in their free coaching sessions, and you're showing up on their social media, and you're showing that you're trying to give value, trying to be helpful, that you're appreciative, all of those different things, more likely you're going to get a yes answer. Also, a lot of these people have coaching programs, like, they have different things built in to what they do.
Yeah, thank you for that, Bonnie, because I think most people, yes, you mentioned most people have that thinking that because you're a mentor, you're just gonna give me all the things that I need, but it should be like a two-way kind of thing, right?
Exactly. 100%. Even with David now, I still, asking him, can I help with this? Or I know somebody's birthday is coming up, can I make something for that? And it's not even like a trading. Like, it has to be a genuine...
Organic.
Yes, to give something to someone without expecting to get something back. Because that's not a relationship. That's just trading. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah.
So it starts with what your intentions are.